आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनकही कहानियाँ। आइए हम सुने विज्ञान की अनसुनी कहानियाँ। एक नई दुनिया की आवाज़ आपकी आवाज़, विज्ञान की आवाज़ की आवाज़।
Vigyan Ki Awaaz podcast is a STEM popularization initiative catalyzed and supported by the National Council for Science and Technology Communication, produced by Media for Community Foundation, content support by Kadalose FM 90.4 Community Radio, and hosted by your Surya Kiran. In the Greek mythology, when the Titans were defeated by the Olympians, Zeus, the god of thunder and the king of Olympians, condemned a Titan named Atlas to carry the heavens upon his shoulders. Did you know that the first bone in the human spine is named after Atlas for sharing the same endurance in carrying the weight of the head? The spine is our backbone. It is the strength, the foundation, and the flexibility of our bodies. The spine really is fascinating, but while its complexity interests us, it's also one of the reasons which causes pain in the back. As people begin to age, they may start experiencing pain in their joints and bones. This pain can be acute, especially if someone suffers a traumatic injury in an accident or if their joints or bones are degenerating due to a chronic condition. In such a case, they may need to consult an orthopedic surgeon to determine the course of treatment. In case the pain is not managed with medication, an orthopedic implant may be deemed the best solution. The implant helps stabilize the muscular system and improves mobility and flexibility in the patient. Now, let's meet the scientist of the episode who specializes in orthopedic implant designs and development. MrAravind Kumar Prajapati, Engineer C, Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology, Thiruvananthapuram.
So I'm Aravind Kumar Prajapati, working as Engineer C in the Division of Artificial Internal Organ, Department of Medical Device Engineering, Sri Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology, Trivandrum. I am from Chhattisgarh and I did my graduation from National Institute of Technology, Raipur. Then I did my post-graduation, which is a master's, from Indian Institute of Technology, Madras. Then I worked in corporate for around 5 years. The corporate name is Stryker Corporation, where I worked on orthopedic implants. I was posted in India as well as outside the country. I had spent around 4.5 years outside the country, especially in USA, during my work.
Can you please brief us about your areas of research?
So currently I am working on orthopedic implants design and development for patients with a bone deformity. And a special focus is on development of spinal fixation devices for those patients who have a degenerative disc disease or scoliosis or tumors, or in the cases of revision surgeries where we have already implanted a device which is failed. Then after failing of that device, patient comes to a surgery. By that time we can use this device as well. So we started developing a device which is called dynamic stabilization system, which gives a feel of normal spine even after device implantation, which does allow the spine to move like a natural spine, where we can have a twist, we can bend front and back side sidewise, and then over the time the pain of the patient will go away. Thank you.
Can you tell us how your research benefits a common man or the nation's field of science as whole?
So if we look into recent studies, we have around 60% of Indian population with some sort of spine issues. And these spine issues can range to the points which I have described some time back. Starting from back pain, then it can go up to scoliosis, which is twist of the spine on the back side in awkward ways. So having these kind of population within the country, we look forward some scientific way to solve these issues in the patient. So we started working on the spinal fixation devices, especially to treat this kind of patient, to give them a better life, and at the same time with the affordable cost. So one of the significant importance of our work is to come up with innovative design with the cheaper cost. However, we do have some devices which are imported for this kind of treatment, especially on spinal fixation devices, but they are pretty costly and common man cannot afford it. Therefore, we sorted out that we should look forward and do some innovative work in this domain, so that we can benefit to the people of this country with affordable ways and with the same quality which is there in the imported devices. And I would also like to point it out that as of now, somewhere close to 80 or 90% of this kind of high risk devices like a dynamic stabilization system, they are imported within the country. So we would like to do work such a way that import percentage could be brought down to around 30% or less, as it is envisaged by Honorable Minister of State Dr. Jiten Singh. So we started working on this particular device, but this is in the prototype phase as of now. And this device has to go through in vitro testing, which we call it in the laboratory test. Then we'll go for in vivo study, which is on animal study, to identify the safety and efficacy of device before we go for implementation. As of now, there are well-proven devices in the market, and especially they are from the giants in the country. But yeah, they are a little costly, and most of them they are imported in the country. Therefore, yeah, we look for an innovative solution for these things.
Sounds like we have a boon of technology under development. That being said, can you please share us about the past, the present, and the future possibilities of your research areas?
Yes, ma'am. So earlier, when any sort of deformity on the spine, and that was treated with the help of what we call spinal fixation devices, which have a set of screws and then connectors, then rods to stabilize the spine. With this system, what it happens, like two bones, they are held together, stabilized together, and they become solid over the time. The problem with this kind of stabilization system is that it doesn't allow too much movement around those fused bones. Therefore, there are chances of damage to upper part of solid bone and lower part of solid bone. So therefore, we thought of, okay, let's come up with certain devices which are like dynamic in nature, which can reduce the bone deformity, which can reduce the bone diseases, but same time it can allow the patient to move around and do the activities the way the patient does with the natural spine. And in the future, what we feel that the moment we come up with this spinal fixation devices which is dynamic in nature, we can even start monitoring the spine status or stabilization status outside the body. So we can have some small device which is placed inside the body along with this dynamic stabilization system, and which can give us a signal outside. The signal we can process and identify how well is my dynamic stabilization system working within the patient. We may not require the surgery to do revision. If at all some failure, something happens, we can monitor all the status of the implant outside, and if it is required to do some correction, probably we can come up with a well in advanced technique or planning to do a correction, so that patient doesn't have to go through the pain which is unbearable in nature. He doesn't have to go through those kind of scenarios. In the future, what it would be, we try to do some innovation which can mimic the spine movement and spine condition as like a natural spine. That's what we look forward. So in the future, it should be such a way that even one device is inside the body, then also after that also somebody would not able to feel that okay, there is a device and using that device is performing all the tasks. No, it will be something like okay, this is natural spine, and people are using that device to correct their pains and other things, and they're walking free of pain. This particular technology is going to be made in India and developed in-house within the country and used in the population within the country. However, we have to ensure that this particular device has a good quality before it goes in the patient. And we, for this, we would like to do a all-inclusive test, which is already going on as of now. We have a good facility within the institute, which we are leveraging to develop this product. In going forward, definitely we'll do the implantation in right animal model to get the right inputs, and once all the data they are in favorable, then we can go ahead for a clinical trial, and finally it can go to the population within the country.
That was interesting. We will converse with Mr. Arvind Kumar Prajapati on India's global ranking, our contemporaries, and more in the next episode. You're listening to Vigyan Ki Awaaz podcast, catalyzed and supported by the National Council for Science and Technology Communication, produced by Media for Community Foundation, content support by Kadalose FM 90.4 Community Radio, and hosted by your Surya Kiran. Stay tuned.